All right, this is Mr. Scop here. I'm going to show you how to titrate with what we call the yellow plus blue makes green titration. So I'm going to show you that in case you're absent or you're on a field trip or something like that. So I got my burette here, and notice I've already taken the time to run some distilled water through my burette. I'm going to make sure my valve is closed, and you want to be very careful. You're going to be adding weak acid, weak hydrochloric acid in terms of 0.2 molarity to this burette here. So I'm going to have my valve closed, and like I say, before in my other film I mentioned if you're on the shorter side you can add a funnel to the top, or if you're at all nervous about pouring in that acid, put a funnel at the top of your burette and then go ahead and add it. So I'm going to do that real quick and I'll be right back. So I've added some acid to my burette and you can see the color. Now some of you sharper cats out there might note that acids don't normally have colors to them, so we've added an indicator already. So bromothymol blue has been added to this, and in the presence of acid it turns yellow. So now before I titrate, one of the first things you have to do is record exactly where your how much acid you have in the burette. So once again, I'm going to turn the valve just to let a little bit run through the tip of the burette. So I'm going to let a little bit run down. Okay, done. And now I'm going to record where I'm at. So I'm at 37.20. And once again, you always want to record to the nearest hundredth with the burette. So I got 37.20. Now I'm ready to take my Erlenmeyer flask. Once again, it's designed so that you can swirl it by adding a drop by drop of the acid. So I'm going to get 5 milliliters of base. 5 milliliters of base. It's a weak base. It's 0.1 molar sodium hydroxide, and it has bromothymol blue also added to it. So I'm going to get 5 of the base, 5.0 milliliters, and I'm going to get 15 milliliters of water. And I'm going to have that in my Erlenmeyer flask. So I'm going to get that ready, and I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Now just a couple thoughts that I was thinking of as I paused the tape there. When in doubt, rinse it out. So this graduated cylinder, wasn't sure which lab it was used for in the past, so I rinsed it out with distilled water. Same with my Erlenmeyer flask. So you can see I got about 5 mils of the sodium hydroxide, the base. I'm going to add 15 mils of water, so I'm trying to get it to the 20 milliliter mark. And let's see how well I'm able to do while trying to film here. So you're going to read the bottom of the meniscus. So even though it looks like I'm a little over the line, the bottom of the meniscus is going to be right at 20. Okay, so that looks pretty good to me. Once again, I've got the bromothymol blue added to it. That's why we have the blue color. So I'm going to pour that into my Erlenmeyer flask. And then I've got the height of the burette, once again, just above my Erlenmeyer flask. I don't want it too high so it sprays onto my lab bench. I don't want it too low so when I take this flask out it catches the tip of that and breaks that. So now I'm going to add drop by drop until I get the color that I'm looking for. So you artists out there, you might know if I'm mixing yellow and blue, what color should I be looking for my end point? Well, hopefully you said green unless you ate the crayons when you were little. So I'm going to add drop by drop slowly and stir here with my flask. All right, and then once you get to the end point, I'm going to show you what that green color looks like. All right, I'm back, and I don't know how well you can see this, but I have a green color here. Maybe if I put the other two beakers next to each other you might be able to see it. So this was my original blue base, this was the yellow acid, and if I kind of put it in between, you might be able to see that this is in between the two. This is a nice green color. So I've reached my end point. Now, one thing you want to make sure you do is record exactly how much you used to the nearest hundredth. So I'm reading this burette here, and I'm at 39. I might have to turn it a little bit. 39.20. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down, 39.20 milliliters. I'm going to subtract it from the original amount I had, which I wrote down was 37.20. And you can see that I've used exactly 2.00 milliliters. Now, the way I might think about this is I used 2.00 milliliters of acid, okay, that was what was in the burette, to neutralize 5.0 milliliters of base, which was in my Erlenmeyer flask. And I know I neutralized it because the yellow and the blue made green. They neutralized each other. So in essence here, I should have pretty much made water inside this beaker here with a little bit of green coloring. So there you have it. That's one way you can titrate with an acid and a base. All right, if you've watched these videos before class here, as soon as your teacher sits down, you need to say, "The eagle has landed." The eagle has landed. They'll know you're ready for a bonus stamp. Everybody else will think you're crazy.